Welcome back to PH.d TV, and today I'll be going over Cremo Spice and Black Vanilla fragrance. Okay, so if you're not familiar with what Cremo is, it is a men's line of grooming products. I do believe they have a women's shaving cream, but I do know they predominantly focus on men. Whether it be through hair products like paste and cream and pomades and shaving creams and things like that. But in the last few years, they have came out with fragrances like this right here, the things that we're going over today. So first, we're gonna go over the box's presentation. Okay, so from what we see, it is obviously a very barbershop-y, clean vibe to it. It's definitely the vibe that they're going for. It is very clean, very simple. There's nothing too crazy about it. It's actually made out of a very good box. It's not cheap packaging. And just in case you're not familiar with Cremo, that is the logo, so maybe you've seen it before. It typically can be found in Walmarts and Targets, but I found this one in Target. And as I said, we will be reviewing the Spice and Black Vanilla today. As it does read, it does say it is an explosion of vibrant spices that contrast with dark woods and tobacco to express a sense of adventure. And something that I really do like is that they actually list the notes on the side of the box, so you actually know what to expect. So even if you're blind buying, you still can't say that they didn't tell you. Obviously, as you can see, the top note is cashmere cardamom, the middle is going to be a cashmere woods, and the base will be a vanilla bourbon. And lastly, on the top, it does say they are grooming specialists. And on the back, it does say our colognes have been crafted by some of the finest fragrance houses in the world, which each designed exclusively for this line using only the most premium ingredient. And lastly, even though it says it is a cologne, it is actually an eau de toilette, which comes out a 3.4 fluid ounce bottle. And so now we're gonna go from the box, and now we're gonna go to the bottle. But before we do that, I do have to say this was actually very well packaged on the inside. Because when you take this out, it actually comes in this for extra protection of coating. And if I'm being honest, it took me a hot minute to get this out. And this here is the bottle. As you can see, it does say Cremo on the side in a raised font, as you can see right here and right there. Something that I like is that is a tall and slender bottle. Therefore, if I wanted to pack this on the road, if I wanted to get the entire collection, I could stack them up side by side and ultimately not use that much space. And the logo on the bottle is very easy and very simple. It just flat out says what it is. No crazy design. So far, I would say that might be the biggest con. And I would go as far as to say that is probably gonna be one of the only cons on this list. Because say if you had a whole bunch of these in the line and you just wanted to grab something quick and you wanted to say one of their other smells and you grabbed this one by accident, you're gonna have to read what fragrance you have because you may easily grab the wrong one. But that is a very small con. I feel like we could read if we really cared about what we smelled like. And as you see, the cap is on there pretty good. It's a pretty snug cap, which granted, of course, if you do that, it'll pop on off, but I mean, that's most things. It doesn't snap on, it's just on there very snug. And now, even though this fragrance is actually pretty freaking impressive in terms of presentation for a cheap bottle, which I will get to the price after a while, but even though this is a pretty impressive bottle for a cheap fragrance, I do have to say, I do think the atomizer is pretty basic. I have to admit, even though it does shoot in a very targeting way, it's not a bad atomizer. It gets the job done, it's just very directive. Yeah, that top note is definitely gonna be that cashmere cardamom. A lot of people have gone on to say this, and I even thought this the first time I wore it, which was only once or twice, and it was from a friend. So when I smelled this scent the very first time, it was a borrowed fragrance just to spritz something on. So now, as you obviously see, I have my own bottle, therefore I can make a more judgmental opinion. Now to me, I am easily gonna say this is going to be in the fall, winter time area. And as I do talk about these things, I will be putting up the notes, and I also will be putting up the seasonal reviews, likes and dislikes from Fragrantica right around here, so that you can see what other people have said as well as associate them with. So my opinion can be taken with a grain of salt, but you can also look at what a mass of people have said. But yeah, that's definitely gonna be a fall and winter time scent. And I will say they were very smart to call this fragrance Spice and Black Vanilla because that is exactly what it smells like. In fact, the fact that this title is what it smells like, and they even put the notes on the side of the box like I had shown, really makes me kind of enthusiastic to try some of Cremo's other fragrances because they're really honest about what it smells like. But I will say, this does smell like a cheaper version of Spice Bomb Extreme. And I know other YouTubers have said that. I know that I've made that statement before in a past video, which I will put up here. But ultimately, this is where it gets me. You're gonna be finding Spice Bomb Extreme in that $100+ area. It's never discounted, so you're gonna be stuck with that price. So if you like Spice Bomb Extreme, I'm gonna go as far as to say that this is just as good, if not potentially better. And yes, I said better, because it does one thing that Spice Bomb Extreme does not do, and that is last all day and all night. So before I made this video last night, I actually threw some of this on while I was editing some videos. Okay, so before I filmed this video last night, while I was editing some videos, I threw some of this on my arm, I threw some on my neck, I threw some on my chest, I even threw some on my shirt. Because I knew when I wanted to make this review, I wanted to give you the best review possible. This, and something to know before I tell you how long it lasted on my skin, since I'm not the most oily person, most scents last a good 4 or 5 hours and they're gone. Even the most potent fragrances. This lasted for a full 5 to 6 hours easy while I edited last night. Right before I got in bed, I was still smelling it on my arm. It was still projecting. So honestly, if I had to say projection, I'm gonna give this a solid 9 out of 10. Which again, for the price, it is absolutely outstanding. I did not expect to have this much luck or this much success with this fragrance for being as cheap as it was. And even outside of projection, obviously I said it was projecting for 6 hours, which means the longevity obviously is 6 hours as well. I would go as far as to say that this lasted a full 8 to 9 hours, which typically goes about 5-6 hours with the average, more expensive fragrance. Out of my entire collection, I think I probably only have 2 or 3 that beat that. Now I have 3 or 4. So the longevity is easily going to be a good 9 out of 10 as well. And lastly, in terms of grading this, judging it, and rating, this is going to be about the smell by itself. I think this smells so freaking good. And if you know what Spice Bomb Extreme smells like, or if you like spicy fragrances with a pinch of vanilla, this is where you're gonna find the most luck in terms of a cheap fragrance, because it smells identical, in my opinion, and several other fragrance YouTubers. But where this soars is the final note. You definitely get that vanilla bourbon type spice smell, and it just sits and projects and it just fills the room. I don't know if this has anything in it that really makes it just project in terms of an aroma, but I literally, again while editing last night, walked out of the room to go to the bathroom, maybe grab something to eat. I came back and I smelled it in the air as if I just put it on fresh. So in terms of scent, I'm gonna give this a solid 9 out of 10 as well, which obviously is gonna result in the entire score being a 9 out of 10. And I have to say, for being a cheap fragrance, I'm probably gonna keep this one on hand. But actually, I'm gonna have to put that 9 out of 10 lower, because if I'm really thinking about it, I can even see this being a very unisex fragrance. The reason is because it is designed for men and it's fantastic. You get that hints of bourbon and that whiskey and the spice that just comes off very masculine. In my opinion, this is a very masculine scent if you put it on a man. But as well, I will not be surprised to see that if a woman wore this, you will be noticing more of the vanilla note. It's one of those things, if you see it on a man, you will automatically start imagining the whiskey notes a little bit heavier because you're associating it with a man. But say if you saw a woman wearing this, you will probably pick up the notes of vanilla because you're trying to associate the scent with a woman. But regardless, I can see this being a very unisex fragrance. I've seen many other YouTubers, even before this, say that they would wear this themselves. So if you're cool with it being a unisex fragrance, we're gonna stick with that 9 out of 10 score. But if you want me to be harsh on it, if you want me to judge it for being a men's company, a men's product line, I'm gonna say the smell is gonna be notched down to a 7.5 out of 10, because if you're targeting this towards men, I would go as far as to say that it probably should have been treated to be more masculine in the finish. But if you're totally cool with it being unisex, if you're totally cool with how it smells, because I think it smells delicious, I think it smells fresh for a wintertime, fall time scent, and it's very sweet on the nose. Very much thanks to the vanilla. This is a 9 out of 10 fragrance for me. And I do see someone who has to be out of college wearing this, or at least about to graduate, because this does have an older smell to it. You will smell more in the 23, 24 older range. I would find this to be very, not inappropriate, but odd that a younger person, say in high school, would be wearing this scent. I would probably go with one of the other Cremo fragrances, assuming that their quality of fragrances are as good as this one. And this would be great for Thanksgiving, a Christmas, a fall get-together, the ones where you bring in the apple pies. This might be the best fragrance for Thanksgiving. I might do that. I might wear this for Thanksgiving. But where you can find this, you can find this at a Target, you can find this at a Walmart, you can find this for $22 at a Walmart or a Target. $22. So if you're gonna be looking for a cheap champion, one that will last hours, something that will have a spice, something that will be on the sweeter side leaning towards unisex, this is the fragrance for you. But if you're someone who's gonna say that they wanna smell masculine and they wanna smell undoubtedly like a man, I would probably find a buddy who has this and give it a shot first, and so you can get your own personal opinion. But if you're totally cool with a unisex fragrance that will definitely lean towards a man if you have it on, or if you're a woman who wears this and you obviously pick up more vanilla notes associating it with a more feminine smell, you will absolutely be perfectly fine wearing this. And again, for $22, you cannot beat it. And if I'm being honest, this makes me incredibly enthusiastic to review more Cremo fragrances. And if you would like me to review more Cremo fragrances, please let me know. And if you want me to do so specifically for a specific fragrance, let me know down below too, and I'll be happy to review that specific fragrance in the future. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching on PH.d TV. Make sure to subscribe down below so that anything that I do, you'll be able to see. And make sure to hit that notification bell. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.